Welcome back. Leap Enforcer Podcast, episode 27. We just wrapped up this week. We just got back from the Bears game, and man, what a time. What a time. Bears were number one in the division, and they're not no more. So it's always nice we go out and beat the Bears. What a weekend, though. What a game. The whole weekend was a great time. Got to see some old friends out in Green Bay. Got to meet some new friends. I met some people from California. Super cool. Hung out with them for a little while. So it was nice to see old and meet some new people. So great time. Weather was cold. It was December in Green Bay, the way it's supposed to be, frozen tundra. So it was. I think game time. I think it was something like 8 degrees or 10 degrees, something like that. With wind chill, I think it was right around 0 or 4 degrees, somewhere in that mix. Got a little bit of snow the night before the game. I feel like it was colder Saturday night than it was actually on Sunday, but anyways. But weather was cold the way it's supposed to be. Bears Packers, oldest rivalry in sports, and it did not disappoint. To jump into that game, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that game, but Jordan Love is Toyotathon Jordan Love, and I love to see it. So he's playing out of his mind right now. He's literally the highest ranked quarterback in Toyotathon. Last 8 weeks of the season, last 3 years, he's ranked highest in QBR. He's the most elite quarterback during that time frame. It's just stats. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. I'm just saying the last 8 weeks of the season, Toyotathon, he's the highest rated quarterback in the league. So I'm just going to throw it out there. But he played extremely well against the Bears. He had the one early interception. He was trying to make something, I think it was like 3rd and 19. So I think he was just trying to, make something happen, which I understand. But it was a ball that was kind of a bad ball that was thrown. But after that, he lit it up. He ended up with, 3 touchdowns, 2 to Watson, 1 to Bo Melton. And then Jacobs had that rushing touchdown to put us ahead and win the game. Overall, the offense played really well. We were able to get the run game going some. On the first half, we completely dominated the Bears. I think they ended up with 80 yards total in the first half. It was pretty dominating. The second half, the Bears, they can run the ball. I will give them that. They really have a really good offensive line. They have 2 running backs that are solid running backs. And they were able to get, some run game going against our defense. But we held strong when we needed to. We ended up being able to close the game out. Keyshawn Nixon made a really good play at the end of the game. We really wanted to stop Caleb Williams in that last, drive, from running in the end zone, and we sent 3 people after him. So I'm glad Keyshawn, dropped back and was able to cover Loveland in the back. But Caleb Williams did miss a wide open more. He slipped through behind the linebackers, was wide open, but I'm glad he tried to go for it all, and Nixon picked that off. We won 28-21. So great game. What a game to be at. That stadium was absolutely electric. It was so loud when that happened, and I kind of blacked out a little bit from it was so cold, and then screaming and jumping, and then it was oh man, I gotta kind of catch myself. So but what a game. What a finish. It happened right in front of me. We were right on the 7-yard line or so. But what a game. I'm so glad I ended up making that drive out there and going to that game and being able to experience that. So kind of jump into this coming week. We got a tough task ahead of us tomorrow. Denver. Denver is the number 1 seed right now currently in the AFC. We're currently number 2. To dive into this game, I'm going to touch on the Toyotathon thing going on right now with Jordan Love. I wrote down some stats. He's 67% completion percentage, 36 touchdowns, 2 picks, 110 passer rating. Currently 4,239 yards, which is about 284 yards a game. Outside of Toyotathon, he's 44 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. During Toyotathon, he's 36 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So, there you have it. The last 8 games of the season, the last 3 seasons, he's been playing lights out for us. And this is when he steps up. It's the biggest time of year to step up. So it's really good to see him, jumping into this Toyotathon. I hope he can carry this, gameplay over into, the rest of the season and into the playoffs. So tomorrow's going to be fun, though, against Denver. Denver has a phenomenal defense. Excuse me. If I keep coughing, I'm still dealing with this cough and cold air. It's freezing up here in Michigan. So if I cough, I apologize. But to dive into this game, Denver's defense is top 2, top 3 defenses. I'm going to throw them up there with kind of like maybe the Texans. And, I think Green Bay's neck and neck. I think we're, let's just say both top 5 defenses for fun. I think the matchups in this game are going to be what is crucial for Green Bay. Vance Joseph is the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. He plays a ton of man coverage. He loves to play man coverage. He loves to blitz as well. Well, why do I bring this up? Because Jordan Love is the highest rated passer against the blitz and against man coverage. So, again, it's going to be based on matchups. But Denver blitzes 35% of dropbacks. It's the highest rated in the league. And, Jordan Love, he eats off of blitz packages and man coverage. He eats off that. He's got a 90.3 PFF grade against the blitz. It's the highest in the league. He gets the ball out. He does take some shots, but he's also one of the best, deep ball throwers as far as, getting the ball down the field and making plays happen when people are coming after him. He gets on that back foot and just lets it go. And so that's going to be big for us, I think. When we flip the side to our defense versus their offense. So another thing about matchups. Green Bay plays a ton of zone. We just do. We can rush 3, we can rush 4, we can get to the quarterback with Parsons and Gary and Enigbare, and when Van Ness comes back, we're able to get to the quarterback, so we're able to play zone, rush 4, and not allow anything over our head. We don't give up big plays. We're just that type of defense. Well, the reason I bring this up, Bo Nix is ranked 29th against zone defense. He's much better against, man coverage than he is against zone. But we don't play a lot of man. So he's ranked 29th against zone. And I think when you look at it from that perspective, I feel like on both sides of the ball we have an advantage. I'm not saying that, Denver's not a good team or anything like that. But I am saying that Denver hasn't played a lot of competition, in my opinion, based on if you look at their 10-game win streak, they're not beating a lot of good teams. They're beating some subpar teams, some okay teams. So I'm gonna say that this is a very bad matchup, that they haven't matched up against anybody like this yet. And Bo Nix hasn't had anybody like Micah Parsons chasing him around. Bo Nix likes to get outside of the pocket. He likes to create plays. He likes to, try to use his legs, get outside, make throws. He can also run the ball. Well, we just dealt with that with Caleb Williams, and we were able to hold him down for the most part. Caleb had a couple good runs. He was able to get outside the pocket, made a couple really good throws last week, but Caleb Williams is a better runner than Bo Nix. And if you don't think that's, come on, watch football. It's clear. But Bo Nix can still run. But my point behind this is, our matchup, with Jordan Love going up against their man coverage and their blitz, being number 1, and then when you flip it and how bad Bo Nix is against zone, and we play a lot of zone and able to rush 4, and then Bo Nix not being able, he hasn't played anybody like Parsons. So I think this is a very good matchup for us. I think this is a game that we could go in there and we should go in there and win. I don't see it being a real high-scoring game because both defenses are really good, and I kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit tighter game than you would think. A lot of people would think. I see a lot online Packers are going to blow them out, or some of the Broncos fans Broncos are going to blow them out. We're a 10-game win streak for a reason, yada, yada. I get it. I get both sides. But I'm going to say one of the biggest things for me is when Denver lines up in 22 personnel. If you don't know what 22 personnel is, it's 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and 1 wide receiver. The reason that I think this may be an issue for, Green Bay's defense. I say this because Bo Nix isn't good against zone. If we play zone, he's probably not going to be able to score very much on us. Now, when you go to 22 personnel, that's going to make your linebackers have to cheat up. That's going to make your safeties, come up, your corners come up. The reason being is because that's typically, they're going to use a lot of zone runs out of that scheme. You can go left, you can go right because you got two backs in the backfield. You don't know what way they're going. You got tight ends typically on both sides. You got one wide receiver that might come down and chip. But the reason that it's a tough formation because when you want to play zone, you just want to really rush four. Bo Nix is going to be able to use a lot of play action out of that formation. That's where I think if they're going to have any kind of like success, I feel like it's going to come out of that formation. Because if not, Green Bay is just going to sit back in zone and force Bo Nix to essentially beat him. And I don't think he can. So going to that 22 personnel, that formation itself, two running backs back there, two tight ends, they can do a lot of zone runs. You don't know which way they're going. That's going to keep a lot of those, pass rushers, Rashawn Gary and Parsons, kind of at bay, not being able to necessarily get home and more so running at them. When you bring up, your linebackers and your safeties and your corners, when you bring those guys up and then they move into play action, they audible out of a run, go to a pass. Now you got tight ends going out. You got, running backs. They could split out on both sides. Now you got your corners and everybody kind of like a little bit more compressed up the gut, and they're able to get some plays outside and, possibly get big plays from that. So I think if they go into 22 personnel, I don't know why. Like I see Denver do it a lot. That's why I'm bringing it up, and I think that's the way that they could move the ball against Green Bay. Outside of that, I mean, they have a really good run game. I mean, they do have a solid run game. They have a really good offensive line. And we've been pretty solid against the run. The last few weeks, I feel like we played pretty well. Chicago got us, in the second half last week. But, I mean, I'm going to stick to my guns and say I think that this is the way that, Denver can make this a game. But at the end of the day, I do think that Halfley's going to have these guys ready. We're pretty healthy for the most part. Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson are both questionable. That's the two things that do make me a little bit nervous because we do got to be able to run the ball to open up some of the play action for Love. And I think we can have, some rushing success against this team. They do have a really good pass rusher in Nick Bonito. I think we need to try to keep him at bay. It's easier said than done. He's not on a Parsons level, but he's a hell of a pass rusher. So, opening up play action for Love, it's going to make Bonito think twice if we can get the rush, the run game going. So I think that's going to be crucial. Hopefully we have one of those two guys tomorrow. But at the end of the day, I just think our matchups are, favorable for us. I think that at the end of the day, I think we will go into Denver. We will end their win streak, and stay at the 2 seed in the NFC. I really do. I think Denver is a solid team. I don't think they're the number 1 team in the AFC. I wouldn't put them above, if I was going to power rank those guys, I wouldn't put them above Buffalo. I wouldn't put them above New England. There's a couple teams out there I'd probably take over them. So, again, tomorrow Green Bay's currently favored -1.5, and the spread is 42.5 is the over-under. My score prediction, I got it 24-17. I do think we cover, I think at the end of the day, I think we're going to be able to put up more points on their defense because I think Love's going to be able to move the ball against them. And I also think that Nix is going to struggle, to throw the ball against us. And I think if they have any success, it's going to come from the run game, or doing some of the formations that I discussed with the 22 personnel. I think that's what's going to give Green Bay fits if there's anything. So I think Watson has another big game. I kind of hope we get Golden involved a little bit more. I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of a little frustrating watching it. But, hopefully they get him involved a little bit more. I know he's a rookie, but, man, they got to get him some confidence back. So, excuse me. But, again, I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry it's been a little bit since I've been on here. I've had this crazy cough since I got back from Green Bay. It was cold, so it just destroying my lungs. But appreciate you guys watching. Episode 27. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your score predictions are. I got a 24-17 Green Bay. Go Pack, go. And then we can see what the Lions and Rams game does. That should be a pretty good game, too, to see, if the Rams stay in the one spot, if the Lions can try to fight back into the playoff picture. Really good games on tomorrow. The Bears play the Browns. It's supposed to be cold. That game is like -20 with wind chill. So I don't know if they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. We'll see what happens. Browns have a really good defense. See what they do against Caleb and the Bears. See if they can turn them over. And then I don't know about the Vikings. We're not worried about the Vikings. So, but yeah, some really good games on tomorrow. Appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, go Pack, go.